Welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam Smith, and today I'm excited to head into the finale for Deliverance from Lowen Games. We're going to pick things up from part number 1. If you haven't checked out that video or the setup video or the unboxing, all part of the showcase, I'll have all of it in the top right hand corner for you to catch up on. There are 3 major ways to get connected into the solo community. We have YouTube memberships for the channel. If you want to check out the perks that come along with that in order to join that community on YouTube, you can find it on the landing page under the join button near the top of the page. Also have a Discord as well as a Facebook group, and if you'd like to become a part of either of those or both, we would love to have you there. Without further ado, let's pick things up exactly where we left it off in part number 1 and head right into gameplay. On page 14 of the current rulebook, you're going to find a section within the staging of the final battle that talks specifically about the Prince cards. You're going to want to take a look at this section when you're going into this final battle, as how the darkness cards are going to come out into the track are going to change now that this deck is part of the equation. Going into each darkness phase, instead of drawing all darkness cards from the top of this deck here, when this deck of cards comes into play, at the beginning of every darkness phase, the very first darkness card that is drawn is going to come from the Prince cards. And as you remember from part number 1, darkness phase always starts with 1 darkness card per angel, but the very first one coming from the Prince deck is going to be face up when it goes into the darkness track. The second card going into the darkness track is a face-down regular darkness card, and we're placing these 2 because we need 1 card per angel placed in the track. And we'll be placing 2 more darkness cards face down in the darkness track because we have 2 new oppressed saints on the newly revealed environment tiles from the end of the last video. The major idea behind the Prince cards is you'll continue to draw 1 out at the very beginning of every darkness phase until they run out, regardless of whether or not the final boss is still alive. If you happen to actually kill it, those cards will still continue to come out until they run out. So 1 every single round until there are no more. Now let's go ahead and resolve the cards left to right, looking for the bolt symbol first. We have it here. It says place 1 darkness card face down on the darkness board. Well, that's unfortunate. That's going to fill up all of our slots with a total of 5 cards. And as the card has the ongoing symbol, this card is not discarded after resolving it, but there is a Stronghold icon, which is a new icon. This one you're going to start seeing on Prince cards as they come out. Not all of them will have it, but some will. And this lets us know that as long as demons are in play, this card isn't going anywhere. It even reinforces this down below. It says this card cannot be cast down through prayer or any other cards in the game. We now move to the actions phase, and both action tokens for both angels have been restored. In terms of the overall health, this angel here, having 15 max health, has 6 damage on it so far, whereas Shula on the other side has 16 max health and currently has 13 damage. I'm going to have the Angel of Death go first. We're going to go ahead and use 1 action in order to pray. This prayer card is called Bladed Stance. We can play it anytime, not an action. It says add or subtract 3 from a test, then target angel gains a shield. We also get a Courage, which I placed up here. We're going to do our test 7+, good things potentially happening. We got ourselves 7 on the dot. So we can choose to cast down a darkness card, remove an affliction, or revive a defeated angel. Let's go ahead and choose to remove one of these face down ones, as we can't touch that one there, but we can flip one of these. I'll take this one, Rich Man's Ire. That's the one we've decided to get rid of. It would have done something ongoing. After an angel passes a test, that angel is dealt 3 damage, then destroy the card. So that is no longer a part of the equation. I think I'll go ahead and do my Spectral Walk, which is a free walk. I can move 2 and 1 additional if I happen to go through a demon or angel, but that's not going to happen. There is a border here right along the edge surrounding me, and as I want to kind of head north, I'm going to have to go around it. So we're going to move 2 to here. Now, one thing worth mentioning is that on the Cruel Archer's board, we haven't seen it go through yet, but I do know they do black arrows from range 4, so keeping myself where I am will keep me from being targeted, as they don't have a move with that one. So for my second action, I'm going to choose to pray 1 more time. Why not? Let's go ahead and do it. We'll gain ourselves a Courage. So we got a total of 2. We're going to do a test, and we get a prayer card. The prayer card I got is Withering Gaze. We can play this on our turn as a free action. Target up to 2 demons, affect each target with Wither. Then you may move each target up to 2 spaces. That's going to come in handy. Now let's go ahead and do our test and see whether we can pull off dealing with some more darkness cards in the track. We got ourselves a 6, which is not enough. Now what we can do right now, because I picked up that prayer card, the one called Bladed Stance, I can play this anytime to add or subtract 3 from a test. So I'll do it right now. Not only will I pass the test and be able to mitigate a darkness card, but also this allows me to gain a shield. So we'll discard another darkness card. We'll take this one right here. This one would have been Lying Lips. And a shield token's also being placed on my character board. With Azrael's turn now done, we move to the first in the initiative track, the Cruel Archers. You get to see how these guys behave. We start with their talents, and it gives them a shield each. Now I trigger Black Arrow for both of these Cruel Archers, and the good news is, being that we're outside of range 4, they don't have any movement with this particular ability, each Cruel Archer deals 1 damage to the nearest angel in range, which we are not. This damage cannot be prevented by shield, so it's good to know that if they get too close to us, even the shield we have will not protect us. And that's just specific to that ability, but now we move to rolling for their behavior. Both of them will do the exact same thing, and it's going to be at number 1. It's going to be a Ribcage Quiver. So range 4, move 2. They do have the ability to move now, so they'll be able to get to me. Cruel Archer engages the nearest angel and deals 2 damage, then deals 1 damage to itself. So Cruel Archer number 1 is going to try to get into range, moving 2 spaces. The good news here is that it cannot get into range, but it's still going to attempt to take its shot. It's not going to be able to hit me because it's not in range, but it does still take a point of damage, as it mentions on the Ribcage Quiver ability. It does, however, have a shield, so it blocks that damage, not taking anything, and we move on to Cruel Archer number 2. Cruel Archer number 2 can absolutely get in range of me after just moving 1, so it just moves what it needs to get into range of 4, and from here is going to make a damage to attack against me. Thank goodness I have a shield, so only 1 point of damage going through, jumping me up to 7. Now it's going to take a point of damage as well, and it has a shield, so it's going to go ahead and remove its shield. I just grabbed the wrong shield from the wrong area, but that's okay, no gameplay impact. Now, I've looked over Shula's ability. She has some things that can help her with healing, but the first action I would like to do is to do some praying. We'll see whether that benefits her. So we'll go ahead and take an action to pray, and we're going to draw a prayer card, and then we'll test 7+. She got a card that actually lines up with her quite nicely. It's called Blessed Path. We can play this at any time, add light to any 3 connected spaces. Angels on those spaces gain Blessed. And guess what Blessed is all about? It's a good thing. When a test is passed by a bearer of that boon, they heal 1 damage. So this could really help her out. She also gains a courage. Let's go ahead and make a roll and see how we do on the test. We got ourselves a 9, so we can do some mitigating of the darkness track if we wish. We'll go ahead and discard another one off the track for the 3rd one this round. This is Media Blindness. This is when an angel test reduced the result by 1. This is now gone. Let's go ahead and use a free action for Shula. We'll use light-footed. I can move up to 3 spaces, and a light gets placed where I end that movement. For my second action with Shula, I'm going to choose to pray 1 more time. She gains another courage for a total of 3, as our Angel of Death has 2, so we're starting to get up there in courage, which is great, because we can start using that towards attacks later on. Prayer card we got here is Weary Strike. Play at any time, non-action. When a demon would deal damage to an angel, reduce that amount by 3. That could not have come at a better time for her. Let's roll the dice and see whether we pass the prayer test. Hopefully we do. And we did. We got a 9. That's another darkness card mitigated. This one going to the discard pile. It is the Hunger Pains one. It's gone. And as Shula ended her turn on a space with light, not only does she get the benefit of the light itself giving her 1 heal, so that's going to bring her down to 12 total damage on her, she's also going to gain a shield because she has Light Warden as a passive talent as well. We move to our boss, Baal. The ritual lectern says each angel's dealt a damage. This damage cannot be prevented by shields. So even though we got a shield with Shula, can't use it. They're going straight through 1 point of damage for each of them. So she's going up to 13 for her, and the Angel of Death will go from 7 to 8. Let's find out what Baal worship is all about. Starting at the very top of the board now, we got a range of infinity. So this could be anywhere on the game board. That's dangerous. 7+ on a success. Add 1 Prince card face up to the darkness track. That is not going to be good. So it's kind of speeding up how many of those Prince cards are coming out. Instead of them being once per round, this can actually get them out even faster. And if none remain in that pile of Prince cards, then you add 1 darkness card instead. If this causes a darkness card with the action icon, the bolt, to be revealed, activate it. Discard unless it contains an ongoing symbol, and that's pretty standard. The ability itself is anything but standard, but the ongoing icon we're used to from other darkness cards. Let's go ahead and roll the dice and see whether this individual passes. It does not. We get lucky. It doesn't happen. Now we're going to roll and see what Baal's thrown at us in terms of a skill. Let's find out. We're going to roll. We got ourselves a 1 Cursed Altar. It's infinite range. Baal's going to gain a shield per angel, so that's 2 shields. Then test 7+. On success, each angel is afflicted with Cursed. I guess it could have been worse. Not bad. We could get really lucky, and it might fail the second test as well. So here's hoping that's exactly what happens. It did. It got a 6. It is not enough. That means nothing happened for Baal's turn this round, giving us a break, a well-deserved one. We need this badly. We move to the level up phase, and it is unfortunate we weren't able to get any additional XP because we are right on the cusp of another level up. So too bad on that. Would have been a great time and a perfect round to get a level up with the lull coming from Bale. I bet you any money that is not going to stay the same as we continue through the rounds. So now we skip right back around to the darkness phase, a brand new round. We have a bunch of darkness cards coming in, but first, as always, the first darkness card will be a new Prince card. This one's called Strip Bear. We're going to actually activate these later on, but it states each angel must remove one boon, and then each player must discard one prayer card if able. That is not good, because I have some really awesome prayer cards. Another face down darkness card now satisfies the 2 for having 2 angels in play. Now, because we have 2 oppressed saints still in play, we gain another 2 darkness cards, which will fill up the track with 2 more face down darkness cards. The good news out of this equation is that by mitigating the darkness deck in the prior round, we made sure not to have any more darkness cards flipping over during this round, which was nice. Although these ones that are already here are pretty nasty, and we have to resolve them now left to right. We're familiar with this one, so let's go ahead and do it. We don't get away scot-free because of the Dark Ritual from Bale, this one having us flip over a darkness card on the darkness board. So I flip this one here, Harsh Words, another one that needs to trigger. So let's continue on through. So we've done this. The ongoing effect keeps it here, as we already know. This is not going anywhere because it's a Stronghold card. Next up, we have Strip Bear. This one's going to trigger. So each angel must remove one boon, and each player must discard one prayer card if able. The Angel of Death doesn't have any boons, so we don't have anything to remove there, but Shula has Light underneath of her, one of the 4 boons listed on the reference card. Light, Swift, Empower, and Blessed are all boons, so Light is what Shula is losing. The light has been snuffed out, and unfortunately now we have to discard some prayer cards if we have them, and unfortunately I regret not putting Withering Gaze on in the first round. I was thinking it would make sense to keep this for the second round so that when they're closer, this actual card would allow me to push them further away, keeping them from hitting me with their arrows, but that ended up costing me as Wonderful Bale had other plans and decided to snatch this away from me as part of this resolve. So this is gone for the Angel of Death, and we're also going to lose a card for Shula, but she has 2, so I have a choice to make. Out of the 2, as much as I like Blessed Path and I think it's cool, I think having Weary Strike is a good one because I can play it at any time when a demon would deal damage to an angel. I can reduce it by 3. That will definitely come in handy to keep Shula alive. I could also use the Weary Strike to protect the Angel of Death as well. Strip Bear has now been resolved. It does not have the Stronghold symbol, and it's not going to be ongoing because there's no arrow icon there either. So this one is tossed and is gone from the row. This one was an actual Bale-specific card. This one next is a regular Darkness card, but it is going to trigger right now, Harsh Words. It says each angel must remove one boon from their character or current space, which I cannot do at this point in time based on not having any boons available. If an angel cannot remove a boon in this manner, the angel is dealt 2 damage instead. That is not good, but this card will be removed. The Angel of Death has 8 damage already. 2 more with nothing I can do to mitigate it is going to bump it up to 10, and our max health is 15, so we're getting a bit too close for comfort. Now taking a look at Shula, she's going to take 2 damage because my prayer card only works when a demon is dealing damage, not a darkness card. So this 2 damage that is coming in, I can't use my prayer card on, but I do have a shield. So I'll block one of it, the other will go through, keeping me alive. I have 14 now on the dial, and she has a total of 16 health, which is way too close to bad things happening. Darkness phase is complete. We're moving into the actions phase, and we've got a lot of work to do. The first player token is going to stay with the Angel of Death because I believe I can do some big time hits, hopefully, on the Cruel Archers. We're going to start with a prayer here to get ourselves set up. Maybe the prayer card can help us out. Again, remember, always read the back of the prayer card. It will help you to decide whether or not it might be beneficial. This prayer card makes it very obvious that something aggressive is going to be happening. As you can see, it says, "Is not my word like a fire, says the Lord, and like a hammer that breaks the rock in pieces." This is the word of power, and it states add 3 damage or healing to an angel's skill, divided however you choose between targets. This is going to come in very handy. I've also gained a courage, so we now have a total of 3, which will lead us into Locust Swarm, which I'll do next. But first, we have to do the test that's here. Let's see if we can do anything with the darkness cards we have. Yes, we've been rolling so good on that side of the equation. So 9, which means I'm going to mitigate one of those face-down darkness cards. I'll take one here and flip it up. It's going to be this one that's removed. It is Love Grown Cold. Now, to make sure that my Locust Swarm actually does what I want it to do, I need to get in range of both of these units I want to hit. So we're going to go ahead and just move one of the 2 I get for a free Spectral Walk. At this point, I'm now in range for both of those targets. And for the last action, we're going to do the Locust Swarm. Now there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff going on here, so this is going to be really interesting. So we do have this card, which I will be using and adding into the fray. At any time, I can add 3 damage or healing to an angel's skill, divided however you want between targets. So I'm going to be adding 3 damage, and I'll tell you who's going to be getting that 3 damage once I parse through things. But first, the Locust Swarm is going to cost 3 courage. So we'll take 3 courage, which is all we have for courage. Paying that, we can target up to 3 demons. We're targeting 2. We're dealing discipline damage, which in my case is going to be 3. And we get to add Wither to both targets. Damage has been applied. The Wither token's been applied. We're also going to go ahead and add 3 more damage, and I'm going to choose to actually place it on Cruel Archer number 1. Next up, we're going to make use of an upgrade that we have as a talent, Scourge of Locusts. It says that I get to heal 2 damage for each target damaged by Locust Swarm. In addition, Locust Swarm deals 2 bonus damage, divided however you choose among your targets. So the damage on my characters dropped from 10 to 6. I only needed 1 of the 2 damage I'm putting out there on unit number 1, which was enough to take it out. We're going to gain 2 XP, which means at the end of this round we'll be leveling up, which is awesome. I still have 1 more damage from that 2 damage that I'm applying. I'll place it on this individual right here, the only one other target that I have, so it's a total of 4 damage now. I also have Master of Pestilence, which you can see right here. Whenever you defeat a demon, you get to gain a shield or add an affliction of your choice to another demon. I'm going to choose the shield in this case. Now, what's absolutely wild is if I had 1 more courage, I would be able to do what's called Swelling Boils. This is a really cool ability. I just don't have enough courage to do it, but each demon with an affliction is dealt 2 damage, and that was my hope and dream, was that I would have enough to be able to pull that off, but I don't have enough courage in order to pull that whole situation together, but I could have, if I had 1 more courage, wiped out both of the archers, but this is still pretty good. Now, at this point, we are done. I have nothing else I can do, and I'm quite happy with how this panned out. Now, it is worth mentioning I do have a cool ability on one of my weapons, but it doesn't apply here because I'm not adjacent to the target. I was actually hitting these things from range, but you'll see I have this cool glowing weapon that allows me to move each adjacent unit 1 space, including yourself, so you can really kind of space yourself away, and you only get to use it once around. But again, if I'm not adjacent, this doesn't apply. Well, it's likely not shocking, but the archers are going to retaliate. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to get themselves a shield. So number 2 has a shield on. Now the black arrow is going to happen and definitely can pull it off. So it's going to deal 1 damage to the nearest angel in range, which is me. And I cannot prevent this with the shield that I gained. The Angel of Death is back up to 7 damage. Let's go ahead and roll the die and see what the final Cruel Archer is doing. It is a 4. It is going to be a volley. Range 4, move 2. Cruel Archer engages the nearest angel, deals 2 damage. Other angels within 2 range of that target are dealt damage. Good thing nobody else is. The Cruel Archer is already in range, so it will not use its movement. It's just going to simply go ahead and do its volley, so it's going to hit me for 2, but I can use my shield in this case, so only 1 getting through, which will bump me up to a total of 8 damage, and the additional damage does not apply, as I mentioned. Good news for the Cruel Archer, because it has a shield on it. When the Wither deals its damage, the shield will block it, so we'll take that shield away. I'm going to have Shula do something a little bit risky, and I'm not sure if this is going to pay off, but I'm going to try it anyway. We're going to use her free movement to move her closer to that oppressed saint, very close to Baal. She's moved and placed light in her space. She is 1 space away from being able to protect that saint. As important as the saint is, we also need to focus our attention on attacking Baal, and we're within range right now to be able to pull off a force beam. So I'm going to go ahead and spend an action here with Shula. This is going to cost 2 courage in order to deal wisdom damage, which is 4, plus the one we have here, which is 5 to a demon. Then move that target up to 2 spaces in any direction we want. By default, with 2 angels, Baal has 35 health. On top of that, a +9 for the ritual lectern, so 44, but we've done our first 5 damage, so dropped him down to 39. As part of the force beam, I'm going to move him 2 spaces south. Final action for Shula is going to be to glow, so I spent the token. The action token is just off screen. It allows me to add light to a space in range of 3. Then target angel on or adjacent to that space gets to heal based on their strength. I'm placing it right beside myself to make sure I can actually take the benefit of healing here, so the light is off to the left there. And we're going to go ahead and take, based on our strength, which is 3, dropping us, which I've already done, from 14 hits down to 11. So a little bit more breathing room now. That's going to end off her turn, and she's ending on a light space, so she heals another one, bringing her to 11. And this Light Warden passive ability over here, just off screen, allows me to gain a shield if I wish, which I certainly want to do, so I'll place that on her board. Her dial is now correct at 10, and we're going to go ahead and activate Baal. And I bet you this time, Baal's probably going to hit us pretty good. Bale activates and uses talents first, using the ritual lectern, and does 1 damage to each of my angels. Cannot prevent that from shields, so Shula is back to 11 hits, unfortunately, and the Angel of Death is at 9. We're now going to go ahead and test 7+. He'll be doing his worship ability against us. He got a 3, and once again, unable to do that. That's good news for us. Let's go ahead and roll a die, find out what kind of behavior skill-wise he's throwing at us. It'll be a 5. I bet you that's not good. Doctrine of Demons. This has a range specified in here. Add 1 face-up Prince card to the darkness track. If none remain, add 1 darkness card instead. If this causes a darkness card with a lightning bolt to be revealed, you're going to go ahead and activate it. Discard unless it contains an ongoing symbol. Well, we have room for sure, so we have a face-up Prince card coming into the mix. So we have another dark ritual coming into the darkness track, and it's specified on the ability or skill that it's only going to go ahead and activate if it's a darkness card that gets flipped over. If we have Prince card and we have the room to place it on the darkness track, it just comes in face up. Later on, this is going to be a problem for us, as now these are both going to be things we cannot get rid of from the track. They're going to constantly be hounding us as we go along. We have a positive in this equation, though. We're moving into leveling up, and we do have enough XP based on the individual we were able to take out. One of the Cruel Archers got us over the hump, so we can spend 3 XP to level up both of our angels. For Azrael, the Angel of Darkness, we got ourselves Warden's Boots, and we also have Thunder Stave, a weapon. This one says it's going to boost our health. It's also going to boost our discipline. This one's going to boost our strength. This one actually has a test involved. It says test 9+. Your next skill deals 2 bonus damage. Use only once per round. That's actually kind of cool if you can get up to those higher levels on that roll. And this one here is an automatic that happens right away. When you first gain this item, you gain Swift. And for those that are unfamiliar with Swift, Swift is a condition, it's a boon condition, and that's going to actually add 1 to movement, which wouldn't be a bad idea for the Angel of Darkness, as he doesn't move as fast as Shula does. There's a few things to like about those boots. One is my health goes up. That's always a plus. So now I'm at a max of 16. Also, having this go up, the discipline is going to be positive for the Locust Swarm, because now I'll be able to deal 4 damage with that. And the Swift I will take right now. That'll do it for the Angel of Death. Let's move over to Shula, and maybe she'll go after a talent or potentially a Heavenly Treasure. We're going to go for that level 3 talent. We have Brilliance. This is a passive. It's an always-on effect. Whenever you deal damage with a skill, you may test 7+. On success, deal the combat damage or strength damage as additional damage divided however you choose among targets. That would be huge. We need to be able to get lots of damage really quick, so that could absolutely be the one to go for. This one here, we have to pay for courage to use, so probably is good. It's going to be a free action, though, when we do it. We can choose a space and range, add light to that space, and each other space adjacent to it. Then we get to deal wisdom damage to each demon on these spaces. Angels on these spaces each heal 3 damage and gain bless. Well, that's actually pretty good too. As extremely cool as that Holy Ground ability sounds, I really want to get something that will potentially trigger more often, and I know I'll be doing lots of attacking, so I think this one is the best bet. Even though I still have to roll a 7+, I think I can take more advantage of this to try and win the skirmish. We head into another darkness round, and we always draw the very first darkness card off the top of the Prince deck. We're going to take 2 darkness cards, 1 for each angel. First one coming from here. Let's see what we get. Another dark ritual. I wonder what this individual is up to. A lot of pain. We're going to have this darkness track activating quite a bit. This is not going to be good. We have to get a darkness card from here. This one will be face down and placed right here. And now things start getting interesting, because going forward, the next 2 things for the darkness phase is for the oppressed saints, and we have 2 of them, so we're going to be flipping over 2 of the darkness cards. We got ourselves the Reckless Gamble and the Stumbling Block. At least these ones trigger once and disappear, but these dark rituals are going to be sticking around, unfortunately. So starting with the left here, we place a darkness card face down on the darkness board. But this is where things start getting painful for us, because we have all slots of the darkness track currently face up. Every time we would draw a card to bring it into the track, instead it's going to damage both of our angels for 1 damage each. The Angel of Death took a point of damage, bringing him up to 10 total hits, and he's got 16 as his max health. And then Shula on the opposite side also has 16 as her max health, and she has a shield, however, so she'll block that point of damage. Going into the next one, Reckless Gamble. This one's nasty. It says each angel is dealt 4 damage, but cannot be reduced below 1 health by this damage. Well, that's not going to matter. Both of them are taking the full extent of the 4 damage each. Now, while Azrael cannot block that damage, so he's got 14 hits against him, Shula does have a prayer card called Weary Strike. And remember that one that can reduce the damage by 3? She's going to use it right now, so she's only going to take 1 hit, bringing her up to 12, and that's it. Good thing she had that, because that is a nasty card. The second part of that first paragraph, it does let you know that, say, for instance, you had an individual that was very, very close to death already and then took the 4 damage. They could not be reduced to anywhere below 1 health. But that's not going to apply for either of our characters. They took the damage they needed to take, and neither one of them are 1 away from death anyway. Now, under here, it says, afterward, angels gain shields equal to half the damage dealt, rounded down. The Angel of Darkness took 4 damage, so half of that is 2 shields, and there's nothing to do in terms of rounding there. On Shula's side, she had 4 damage coming at her, but she was able to completely reduce it by 3, so only 1 actually got through to her, and if we half that, it's 0.5, and then if we're rounding down, it's nothing. We now continue onwards to the next slot. Dark Ritual triggers again. We do have a space available, thank goodness, so this Darkness card can actually be placed face down right here. The next Dark Ritual triggers, and we can't place a Darkness card face down anywhere, but we can flip 1 up, and it's going to be the one we just drew. So this one's coming in, Roots of Prejudice. These root conditions are an affliction. Basically, the first time you try to move with the character, the token will be removed, and they're not going anywhere. But after that, if you choose to move again, they will be able to move as normal. Unfortunately, the Roots of Prejudice card is sticking around. It has an ongoing symbol on it, but we can choose to do a pray action to try to get rid of it. Now, moving on down the road, we have Stumbling Block. This one's going to trigger each angel is dealt damage equal to their own discipline. And that, my friends, is very, very bad. I have 2 shields here, but my discipline for the Angel of Death is very high with 4. So I block 2, 2 gets through, and I have 14. That is going to bump me up to a total of 16, and the Angel of Death has been knocked out. The Angel miniature is removed from the battlefield, and all positive and negative status effects are removed from the character board. Over here, Shula only has 2 discipline, so the hit against her is not as bad. She moves from 12 hits up to 14 hits. She's still 2 away from being taken out, but if she goes down and comes off the battlefield, we lose the skirmish. We head into the action phase. All the action tokens are refreshed. I'm choosing to have Shula go first. Now, she is rooted currently, so if I choose to move with my free movement, I'm basically not going anywhere. I generate light in the space I'm in, although there's already light there, so nothing to place, but the root token can go away. So essentially, I lost out on my free action for movement. And the one thing I want to correct that I didn't do, which doesn't have a gameplay impact, but I want to mention the fact that Stumbling Block, the one that hit us for our discipline, that one does not have an ongoing symbol, so it goes right into the discard pile. You can see it right here. So we do have a space open on the Darkness track right now. Now, as you can clearly see, we've got ourselves into quite the jam here. We have a Darkness track that has 4 face-up cards right now with 1 slot open, but we know on a regular basis we have 2 Oppressed Saints that we have not been able to protect yet, and because of that, that's 2 cards going to the Darkness track, plus the 2 for the Angels, plus the fact that Dark Ritual cards are continuously adding more Darkness cards into the track, and Bale here only has 5 damage. So we have a lot of problems, a lot of things to resolve with only 2 actions for Shula's turn. The question is, do I spend all my time with the last 2 actions moving to maybe get to both Saints and protect both of them, but that doesn't do any damage to anybody else, or do I focus on attacking a few things? That's the fun part. In this situation, there might not be a right answer, but I'm going to go ahead and choose to hit Bale consistently here. So the first attack we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use Starlight. So that's one where we spend 1 action token. We actually gain a Courage, so now we have 2. That'll help me for my second action, which I will do. Starlight allows me to deal Discipline damage, and I only get 2 off Discipline to a demon, but we get to add 1 bonus damage to this skill if you are in a space with light. So we actually get 3. Now I have that Brilliance talent, and whenever I deal damage, which I'm dealing 3, I can test. If I get a 7+, I get to deal my Strength damage divided however I wish among targets, which would be Bale in this case. Let's see if we get a 7+ on the roll, and we don't. Action token number 1 has been spent. Now we're going to move on to action token number 2. We're going to spend both Courage here in order to do Force Beam. This is one of my better attacks here. This one's going to deal Wisdom damage, which in this case is 5, and then I get to move a target up to 2 spaces in any direction. So Bale now has 13 total damage. Not bad, as we're doing a last push here. We get to move 2 spaces. I've decided to move Bale 2 spaces. I had to move around a barrier that's to his right. The Brilliance talent once again triggers. It's ongoing and it can happen anytime I do damage. So another 7+, which I didn't get the first time, but hopefully I get this time, will add damage. Nice. So we actually got an 11. That's going to do it. We get to add an additional 3 damage. So actually, we've done pretty good with Shula here. She actually turned from a support character to being very much able to put quite a bit of damage quite quickly on Bale. Bale now has 17 damage. The Cruel Archer that we were so close to be able to take out is still kicking and is going to gain a shield here for its talent. Then it's going to go ahead and do a ranged attack, which we are outside of range, so it's not going to do the black arrow, which is good news. It's going to roll a die to find out what it is doing, though, and it is a 5. So that's going to be Cursed Shot. It's going to be range 4, move 2. This says Cruel Archer engages the nearest angel and deals 2 damage, then tests a 7+, and on success, you add a curse to that target. Unfortunately, this attack is going to do us in. The Cruel Archer is going to move 2 towards us. And once there, is going to make a shot from range 4 away to hit Shula. I have nothing to stop this. 2 damage through brings us from 14 to 16. And that is another angel down. And that's going to conclude our skirmish mode play of Deliverance from Lowen Games. Now, just before we go ahead and wrap up the video, I do want to mention and show you Bale's card because we didn't see every single skill trigger. We saw the Cursed Altar, as I mentioned. We saw the Doctrine of Demons, but we didn't see these two. This one brings in Meddling Imps. This one brings in Unclean Spirits. We were actually quite lucky that we didn't see additional units come in, although either one of these aren't all that great either, especially the Doctrine of Demons was pretty nasty. But long story short, Bale is a very interesting boss to go up against, and I definitely recommend if you're trying to go after one that is quite dynamic, Bale is a great choice. And that, my friends, wraps up the showcase for Deliverance from Lowen Games. I really hope this series of videos was very helpful in getting the game to the table and also showing you how the game flows and operates. Enjoyed my time with this one and looking forward to future plays as well. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought. If you have any questions whatsoever, there's a link in the video description and pinned comment for the store if you want to check out Deliverance for yourself. And also, if you are not a YouTube member, I have set up a join button on the homepage where you can support the channel as we move forward in its growth. Thank you guys so much, and as always, keep on rolling solo.